All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about something pretty amazing. The tiny, but incredibly powerful clock inside your brain that basically runs your entire day.
You know that feeling, right? That classic social jet lag after a weekend, or that total brain fog after a long flight. We've all been there. And it all comes down to a tiny cluster of cells in your brain just trying to catch up. Well, that feeling? That's your body's master clock scrambling to get back on track. And what's really fascinating isn't just that this clock exists, but how it's built. See, it's not one single thing. It's actually a super sophisticated social network. So let's formally meet the conductor of this whole orchestra, the little bit of your brain that's running the entire show. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so we just call it the SCN for short. You can think of it as the central command for pretty much all your body's daily rhythms. We're talking sleep, wakefulness, hormones, even your metabolism. It is the boss.
Now this is where things get really wild. The SCN isn't one single big clock. Nope, it's actually a super dense community of about 20,000 individual neurons. And get this, each one acts like its own tiny personal clock.
And here's the puzzle. These little neuron clocks, they're not perfect. Not at all. In fact, research shows they all run at slightly different speeds. Some are a little fast, some are a little slow. It's kind of like an orchestra where every musician is playing to a slightly different beat.
So that leads us to the big question, right? If you've got 20,000 different clocks all ticking at their own unique pace, how on earth do they manage to agree on one single time and send a unified, stable, 24-hour signal to the rest of your body?
Well, the answer isn't in the neurons themselves. It's all about how they talk to each other. It comes down to the structure of their social network.
Seriously, just like on social media, in the SCN, it's not just about what you say, it's about who you're connected to. The secret to their incredible synchronization is all in the wiring.
Okay, so this network is basically split into two distinct communities. First, you've got the VL region. Think of these guys as the scouts. They make up about a quarter of the neurons, and they're the ones that are sensitive to light coming from your eyes. Their job is to report what time it is in the outside world. Then you've got the bigger group, the DM region. These are the pacemakers. They're shielded from light, and their whole job is to maintain a super stable internal rhythm.
So we have our scouts and our pacemakers. But how do they connect in a way that's both stable and flexible? Well, as it turns out, nature came up with a ridiculously efficient design.
I mean, the SCN could have been wired so that every single neuron talked to every other neuron. But can you imagine? That's a conference call with 20,000 people shouting at once. It would be total chaos, not to mention a huge waste of energy.
On the other hand, it could have been a regular network, where neurons only talk to their next-door neighbors. But that has a huge problem, too. It's like a massive game of telephone. Information would spread way too slowly, and the message would probably get warped by the time it got to the other side.
So what is it then? Well, the evidence points to a much, much smarter structure. It's what network scientists call a small world, or scale-free network. A scale-free network is the exact same kind of structure you see in airport hubs, or with social media influencers. Most neurons just have a few local connections, but a select few hub neurons are massively connected. They're the influencers. They can quickly take in the information from the scout neurons and blast out the correct time to the entire network with incredible speed.
And this design is brilliant for three key reasons. One, it's fast. Those hubs create shortcuts across the whole network. Two, it's robust. Even if a few random neurons go offline, the hubs keep the whole system stable. And three, it's super energy efficient. It's simply the best tool for the job.
Okay, so the network creates this perfect, synchronized 24-hour signal. But how does a signal from this tiny part of the brain actually make you feel sleepy at night? Well, it's a pretty clear chain of command. As your biological night starts to kick in, that strong signal from the SCN actively starts to shut down your brain's arousal centers, the parts that keep you awake and alert. By quieting those down, it gives the green light to the sleep-promoting regions, like an area called the VLPO, to take over and actually start the process of sleep. It's this beautiful, orchestrated handoff that gives you a consistent sleep-wake cycle.
So let's bring this all home. Why does understanding this ancient little network matter so much in our crazy modern lives?
Because this system is ancient. I mean, it evolved over millions of years in a world with really clear, really predictable signals. Bright sun during the day and almost total darkness at night. It just wasn't built for the world we live in now, with all our screens and artificial lights and weird schedules. It needs our help to stay on track.
And here's how we can do that. Getting bright sunlight first thing in the morning is the most powerful signal you can send to those light-sensitive scout neurons we talked about. Keeping a consistent schedule for sleep and for meals gives the whole network a steady rhythm to lock onto. And, of course, avoiding bright light at night stops you from sending confusing, "hey, it's daytime" signals to your brain right when it's trying to power down.
So here's the bottom line. We're all walking around with this incredibly smart, ancient network that's doing its absolute best to keep time for us. The real challenge, then, isn't for the clock, it's for us. How do we protect this amazing piece of biology in a modern world that just never seems to sleep?